I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it. I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Oh, my God, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. I'm Michele. It's really great to have you here. Let's get some of the deets out of the way, shall we, before we dive in. If you are listening by computer, that's great. If you want to be in the chat, you can listen in the chat. If you want to ask questions from the chat, you need to do a Blog Talk Radio profile. Sign up for that, and you can chit-chat with us, and you can ask questions. Listening number 347-539-5122, 347-539-5122. And if you want to ask a question or you want a reading, then you need to press 1 on the keypad. 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad. I did put in the IG stories, but I did not put the, I don't think I put the press 1 or call in number, but anyway, you are here. Those of you that are here, it's great to have you. Also want to say at the top of the podcast, thank you. Those of you that have left 5 stars, please don't even leave a review if you're not going to leave 5 stars, honestly, at least for effort. Or if you have any feedback you want to give me, you can always email me, awakeningspodcast@gmail.com or info@soulplayground.com. I do appreciate feedback. Or if you want to help out, behind the scenes, in the scenes, let me know. I could use some help. In a lot of ways, I could use some help. Also want to thank all of you, and I'm just going to take a moment to breathe in. And as I breathe out, I'm sending you a big hug. Yeah. Those of you that have subscribed to Soul Insights and Tarot and also Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube, thank you so much. Some of you have also sent in to Soul Insights and Tarot some appreciation, like donation, dinero, money, and that was so nice, so sweet of you to see. You know who you are, and I know you listen to the podcast also, so I want to give a double thank you. And those of you that also are joining me on the Soul Path community of Patreon, thank you so much for connecting, and we had a great Soul Path Journey or Metaphysics and Spiritualism Salon this month. It was off the charts. I mean, we went over an hour. We meet for an hour, but a lot of times it goes over. This time we went from 1 p.m. to 3. 3 in the afternoon. So also, just to let everyone know, if you are feeling kind of like, oh, what's this Patreon thing about Michele does, check it out. Soul Awakening with Michele Meiche, or just go to Michele Meiche. We have different tiers to support you. Some of you have joined my mentoring tier. You've asked that you want to meet monthly, but you also want to do an individual session with me. That's available. But you get 20% off. And for a short period of time for the Dream class, which I'm going to put in this, let me do a little note to do the link. I forget to do that. I'm going to put that in. What's on my Insta? If you follow me on Instagram and you go to the bio, where the links are, there is a link for a dream course. It's a 3-month course. It's not just dreams. It's using your dreams, even if you don't dream or you think you don't. magic, ritual. We're going to have Paulo. A lot of you love Paulo. Paulo is actually going to do a session in the course. He's going to do a ritual, teach a ritual. This is all to support you and hone in on the energies that are happening now, right now, between now and February, March. Really kind of now and February. It's like 6 months. The kick-ass energy shifting that's happening is we're going to use the magic because this time, you've noticed we have all these witches on lately on Awakenings as guests because it is the season of the witch, as I put in on the Instagram story. But yeah, we've got S.M. Harlow will be on later, author of a Tea Witch's Grimoire. So what are you saying in the hi, Tea Witchery? Yes, healer medium, we're going to do it all. She's coming on later. There's a reason we do certain rituals and magic, and I am trained in ritual and spell casting also. Was part of my journey, and I weave it in. I weave a lot of different things in because I don't like doing just one thing. Even if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Soul Insights and Tarot, I mix things up. Even I mix the spreads up. It's just something I like, variety. So I will mix everything in my Hindu studies, my Kabbalah studies, everything. Numerology, psychology, transpersonal psychology, hypnotherapy, dream analysis as a dream therapist, astrology, channel guidance, and that's what I bring. Because I like to use all kinds of modalities, and I think that's why people work with me as long as they work with me. Some people I've worked with 30 years consistently. Because they're like, oh, I really want hypnotherapy. Oh, Michele does hypnotherapy. Okay, I want to get an astrology reading. Oh, Michele does that. And it's not, believe me, I have my limits. I would say certain things people dive in and study, like astrology, could be way more advanced that I am in that science of it, and maybe looking at Sabian symbols and things like that. But for readings and using my intuition and my channeling, opening to the guides and the Akashic, and weaving that with numerology, that's what I do in my Soul Path astrology readings. Is I do the astrology reading based on the Soul Path, and then if people want to, I integrate the channeled information and numerology. It all weaves together anyway. It's just some people become a specialist in something, and that's never been my thing. I guess also as a Life Path 3, I'm a 21-3, we like variety. I even studied jewelry making. I did that for a while and sold jewelry and did some boutiques and online. So my soul says, let's just try it. This is fun, or let's learn about this. I learned just enough sound engineering in the early days of this podcast because I had to do my own editing, and I got really good at one little part. But realistically, to become a sound editor, I would have had to spend 8 hours a day, really. Sound editing, video editing, to get really good at it and master it, you got to put the time in. So I put that time in meditation, in my own readings, and working with the guides, in studying metaphysics, in researching or reading, watching things, opening up and having sessions with the spiritual hierarchy and the oversouls. So I realistically was like, okay, I cannot become a sound editor or video editor. And also I don't have that mind to do that at long periods of time. But I so appreciate people with their gifts. And by the way, I'm going to share two things with you, then we're going to get to calls, 347-539-5122, 347, let me say it again, 539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad if you have a question or comment. But I want to share with you this, two things. One that I got in meditation, one I'm kind of vibing on right now, and I'm like, oh, that's maybe why I'm talking so much about the different things that I do, is if that's you, I would just suggest to you not to be afraid of that, because most people's soul loves variety. Even people that specialize in something, you go to a specialist, they have other interests that they may not be earning income from it, or they may not be able to spend a lot of time, but a lot of times they have other interests. And like I have a great healer, chiropractor, and does other, has other interests, obviously. One is involved in something with racing, wrestling. They work on wrestlers. They wrestle. They, do the weight training. I, years ago, had an accountant that was also an amazing musician. Now, he performed here and there locally and did stuff for charities. And maybe, in his teenage years, was going to be in a big band. I don't know, heavy metal band or something. But he's actually trained, in a few instruments. So I would just suggest you just, without thinking I have to be the best at this, or I have to, quote unquote, earn a living or make money from this, unless you really want to. But let it percolate. I mean, when I first started doing readings, I did not even charge. I think it was like for 2 years. And, I was doing little odd jobs here and there. I had quite a good amount of money saved up from modeling. But these guides just appeared to me and started giving me information on people, and then I would meet them, or I'd take an astrology course or workshop, and then I'd have information about the teacher the next day. For 3 to 5 a.m. I would channel all this information. And then it started happening more and more and more. And I remember at one point, I don't know, it was a year, maybe a year and a half. Most of the time I just sat in my apartment just answering the phone because people were calling me from all over the world. I don't even know how they found me. I mean, this is it's the beginning of internet, but a lot of people were using internet just as chats, right? And actually, no, my channeling and the guides coming to me, because there wasn't a lot of information about what I did. In fact, I would tell people what I did, and they're like, a channeler? What's a channeler? And they'd go, oh, your voice changes, and I go, no, it's not exactly like that, but I'm working with these guides. I work with them consciously or sometimes in a trance. And it wasn't until this woman, and some of you have heard this story, this astrologer, I think Giovanna was her name, in Newport Beach, asked how much I charged and told me, you're really, really good. You're really accurate. You need to charge for this. She goes, it's a gift. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. I was just having so much fun. Even now, sometimes, even doing this, I am going to start, scaling the podcast and doing different things to bring in an monetary exchange, and asking all of you for your support at some point. But I haven't since I first started doing it, because I thought, oh, this is fun. I love doing it. I love connecting with people. Let's just put it out there and let's share and let's help people. So that's mostly been my motivation. I remember one time, and I won't mention the person's name because you'll know it, but I brought this astrologer in to do a workshop, and at the time, I mean, these workshops, I was for anywhere from a 1 to 3 hour session. I was making quite a lot of money, doing it, and it was a regular thing. And anyway, I thought, I want to share him with everyone. I want to share him, and I'd also hired this band, this kirtan band that I brought in. Because to me, it's like a party. It's like a cocktail party. I always loved having people over, because my parents were like that. And they never asked for any money for their parties. House parties, cocktail parties, barbecues, whatever. We did it all, and so did our neighbors. And anyway, the guy asked me, the astrologer, he goes, what's your cut in all this? And I'm like, my cut? And he goes, yeah, your cut. How much are you making off of this work? And I said, oh, shoot, I never even thought of that. I gave him the whole amount. I was like, I paid for the band. I gave him the whole amount. And I'm like, I just wanted to share. So maybe I need to think more of myself, I suppose, in those situations. And maybe I will down the road. But really right now, and especially coming, I would say, February, March of next year, okay, let me just preface. It's always been this way, but now it's going to be really, really, really important. It's going to be emphasized. It's going to be highlighted, is to celebrate yourself as a soul. Get to know your soul. What are you about? What brings you joy? You can always learn something new or integrate something new. Like now, maybe I bring people in and I split I now have to think I have to pay taxes on this, I have to pay for the platform. So now I think, a little bit differently. But I don't know, I could bring somebody in and just give them the whole amount. I really don't care. But that's how I roll. That's my soul. That's how I think and feel. You're going to do much, much better in the new paradigm, aligning to the new emerging consciousness and in the new economy of inspiration and creativity when you're thinking more in terms of your soul. Because when you align to your soul, it brings you some kind of fulfillment. When you're doing stuff from a soul level, it brings you this level of fulfillment that aligns your individual flow, your individual energy pattern or matrix into the universal divine flow, the universal matrix or design. Everything has a design. So the more you can align to your soul flow, the more you align to abundance. And that's not just financial abundance. That's abundance in all ways, all areas. It just opens up your portal bigger to align to the universal portal. So kind of have a playful think of those of you, what do you individually do? What's your take on something? I always think, be inspired by other people, but don't try to not copy. Copy to some degree what they do and it works, but make sure you have your own stamp. It's very, very old paradigm. It's lower vibrational Pisces and lower vibrational Aquarius to copy. And that's like you see on Instagram, even YouTube. Everybody copies the same. And that's what gets a lot of the likes, by the way, is people copying each other. But I'm telling you, that's falling by the wayside. People are going to want something that's individual, odd, or maybe doesn't have as many followers or subscribers, but is very true, is very genuine. People are going to feel like there's a lot of integrity. And part of it is because on this earth plane in the previous paradigm, we really weren't taught to honor the individual. It was all about the group and people being insecure about the individual or seeing something differently. And you see that now. That's where peer pressure comes from. Everybody has to be on the same, bandwagon, the same messaging. That's why people like, Kardashians blew up. Everybody wanted to look like them. Let's get my body, my hair, my butt like them. Let's get, it's like, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's not genuine. It's not genuine to people's soul. It's not people tapping into their soul and going, what do I really want to do? It's like, oh, this is cool. This is getting likes. This is getting, and it's done with everything. It is done with race, color, creed. It's done with everything, gender identification. I literally was up for something a while back. It's been quite a few years. Anyway, they wanted to go with the program. They tested it, but the thing is, at the time, people were wanting people that on TV that were LGBTQ, at the time. And I even had the producer tell me, the executive producer, too bad you're not gay because you would be hired in a minute. So it wasn't even enough that I was, multiracial and a woman. And having indigenous blood, quote unquote, Native American in me, Hispanic, Mexican, Puerto Rican, that was no longer enough. They told me, and it's true. The person that got the job that I was up for, the program, the TV show, and they're still on TV. They're very successful. I won't name names, but the slot was gay. Okay. I said, well, I could do anything. I'm modeling. I could be any ethnicity. I can look like so many different people, but I cannot, I don't mind people thinking I'm something, a different ethnicity or assuming a different religion. I said, but I can't do that. How am I going to, and they're like, I know. So this whole idea of the identity, it is very ego-based. It is the soul trying to get through to individuality. And when we aren't connected to our soul, our higher self, we pick outer identities to feel we connect in and belong in. And we've all seen it in middle school. That's when it starts. We've seen it in high school. We've seen it even in college. If you're not with Phi Beta Chi, then and you're Mi Beta Mi, you can't hang out with Phi Beta Phi. You can't date that, or this one's better, that one's better. But I'm telling you, that is the lower vibration of Pisces and also Aquarius. Aquarius has a lot to do with cults. That is not going to be where we end up in the golden era. I'm telling you, that is very low vibrational. So if you're thinking, there's something else I want to do, or I think this way, or I feel this way, dare to try it little by little. Dare more and more and more to be you. Just try it. We're all going to try different things. I've even done, we all have done it even in fashion. I've done it in fashion. I've done it in hair. I've done, different courses, classes, different religions. Some of the religions, yes, I studied because that was, part of my, course or program or part of my training. But, we all are seekers. But it is moving into a time of also being a seeker connected into your own higher self, your own soul, your own authentic, genuine you, that you don't need to be a certain type of identity to fit in. You don't need to be something that you're not, or to emphasize something that just doesn't, really isn't what you want to emphasize in your life. Isn't the angle you want to come from. Isn't the vibe you want to come from. Some people don't want to come from the vibe of this is my race, this is my religion, this is my, gender identification, this is my sexuality, this is where I live. Some people do. But it doesn't make you wrong if you don't want to come from that. It's just that that's not fulfilling from your soul. So you're going to see kind of a lot of that kind of shaking out, and it's going to come down to the universal transmission, the energetics, the resonance, the vibe. Not so much what you look like on the outside, or but what's your vibe? Are you being authentic to you? Are you being genuine to you? So I hope that inspires you. If you have a different point of view or a different approach or a different way of doing something, yes, look and see what works. Or maybe you have, we all have people we look up to. We have, mentors, teachers, people we want to emulate. We like what they're doing. It's fine to integrate that and be inspired from that, but bring it back to what's authentic to you and what feels genuine, for you. Let's see. Okay. Also, within that, just real quick, one of the things that we are moving into, or that will help you energetically, is the metaphor of the scorpion, the eagle, and the phoenix. So that digging deep with the scorpion. Scorpion, we get stung with something. When the scorpion tail stings us, it's a toxic or a poison. But anytime we have a toxin or a poison, or we get sick, afterwards we feel cleaned out or cleared out. It's a purification. So look right now in your life, where are you being stung? A stinger can be an alarm. Ouch! It brings our attention to something. The scorpion also is very adept at digging holes and going deep. So it is a time of connecting in with the subconscious or the unconscious within ourselves, within groups that we're involved in, within society, within the world. So see how you can see below the surface. Some scorpions are dark, they're black for potential, the void. Some are clear, it's about transparency. They can be very hard to see, they can be very small, or they can be bigger. And it's a protection, but scorpions also sting just to move out of the way. So you might be stung, it's like an alarm clock, right? You might be being awakened to something in your life that now needs to be highlighted. Now, if you connect in to after the scorpion phase, that deep depth, the subconscious, the shadow material, what needs to come up and be brought aware of, the eagle takes a bird's eye view, a higher view, or eagle view. Eagle looks with one eye and then another. And eagles have a very good vision, acute vision. So what do you need to get higher up to? And then the phoenix, which is the next level, is from that process, something dies, something's changed. The ashes. There's some transformation or transmutation and transformation of energy that's happening in your life. Something is changing in the energetics. You will notice it by feeling it out, like that scorpion. When you get stung, you feel a lot. You may not be thinking a lot. You may not even know what stung you, but you're not thinking, I wonder what stung me. You're like, ow, what the hell? You know, do I need to take care of it now? Do I need to go to the hospital? What do I need to do? So where is the highlight in your life? Is it an alarm? Is it a little sting? Is it a big sting? What do you need to be aware of and take a bigger view? And then realize that something is transmuting. The energy is changing. There's either less energy, more energy. Something is changing. You're in some kind of transition. And from that transition, there's a transmutation of energy. The energy is mutating for a new form, a transformation. And then that's what you want to align with. Something could be like going to ashes. It could be dissolving either slowly, bit by bit, or right before your eyes. But out of what is transmuting and then transforming a new form, you will rise again like the phoenix. Something is about to rise in your life. Something is about to manifest. And I'm going to say it's probably next February on. Some of you may have an inkling of it. Some of you may not, and hopefully if you do my little suggestion here, you're going to be like, oh, that's what it is. Then that's where to put your attention. That's where to put your focus. All right, so lights, that's it. Let's connect in. 347-539-5122 is the numero, and let's get to callers. Hi, you're on air.
Hello, Michelle, it's Sunray.
Hello. Hi. Which are you at? Are you at the ashes? Are you looking above? Are you stung? Are you rising above? Or are you looking above, or are you rising from below? What's going on?
Oh my God! Well,
or all of it.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Like, you definitely answered all of my questions that I have already been rising. But I also wanted to thank you because you mentioned earlier about like your platform and the abundance and exchange of energy, and I truly appreciate you and my current financial estate that you offer a platform where we can exchange abundance in a different way through this energy, through our being, and that to me means so much because it is helping me also get closer to that more collectiveness of abundance and sharing to that abundance. But yeah, thank you so much for creating such a beautiful platform for us to connect.
Thank you.
Brought me a lot.
And I'm going to say also co-creating, because you calling in, the people calling in, the people listening, the people in the chat, everyone is co-creating this. And I got to say, especially people everybody's co-creating, but I feel like when people call in or they're asking questions in the chat, you're extra co-creating it. You're putting extra enriching in it. Well, yeah, because if you have a question, it's not just you. I always say it's 10 people that are listening, 100 or 1,000 or thousands. All of us, even as amazing as we all are an individual, someone else has our same issue.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. Yes.
Yeah.
Other callers, and it's always, you can almost
even if they don't call
rely
in. But see, some people can't call in. Either, some are shy because I've gotten emails, I can't even call in. I'm too shy. I don't want to talk to you. Or they're working. They're doing something else. They have kids. Some people don't have a phone. Some people are in other countries where the time zone is different and they can't call in. Yeah. So I get, right. So I get a lot of times these messages, oh, my God, I'm glad that caller called in because that was my question.
Oh.
It's 2 a.m. here where I am. I can't call in,
I love that. That's so beautiful. Oh, man.
That's
yeah,
true.
well then I'm sure we're all feeling this, but like for me this past month in October, gosh, has been the most beautiful of moments, but the most tumultuous of events.
Yeah.
Almost daily.
Tell me.
Like at work, I'm struggling a lot at work, but I know this feels like a cycle. I'm seeing the patterns are coming up, the emotions are coming up, and I'm just doing my best to show up in my light at work. And I've struggled with that. I work as a bartender and server at a restaurant, and the kitchen staff in the back is just so dense and sequesters or like puts down my light, including my own front of house staff, like my manager. It's about business. It's not about being. So I don't often get a chance to connect. I mean, I try to do with my customers, but with my coworkers, my managers, it's, you know, I get in trouble for little things that then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really focusing on that. And then I have my mother who told me that she was going to leave the town that we both live in, but now she's telling me she's moving out of a terrible situation, which is why she was moving out of town in the first place, but now she's staying. And I have another friend who just told me that she's now going to have a baby, and I have another friend who's struggling mentally that I've lost touch with her recently, and that's been hard. And I just moved into my new space, and that's been amazing. And there's all these things that are going on, but I'm like, I feel like I'm like Dorothy in a tornado.
Yeah. Well, it is that right now. There's a lot of chaotic energy, and that's partly why I do this podcast. That's why I do the Patreon. That's why I'm doing the manifesting course coming up. Because a lot of people don't have the tools also, Sunray. So like even with you with work, if you can just focus on, okay, that's helping pay the bills, but I'm not going to get the emotional fulfillment there. Or very little, sounds like, right?
Oh, very, very little. And it hurts me because it's also affecting, like, I also have another coworker that I'm very close with, and we both share the same emotional feelings of, like, this is not supporting us making good decisions, because after work, we want to have our shift drink, but that's drinking alcohol, and that's a lower vibration density of a substance, and then it just keeps us in a cycle. It keeps us in this loop, and we're recognizing it. And they also just told me that some pretty intense news about them and why they can't, why they're trying not to drink anymore, because it's, a matter of their life or not, So I don't want to give too much detail because she asked me not to share, but
no. Okay, but here's the thing I want to share, and I'm probably I don't know, a lot of people. There's a lot of new people, so maybe they haven't heard my story, and maybe I'll go into it if need be. But the thing is, it's you're learning a really big lesson, and it's that acceptance of what is. But if you're not supposed to get your emotional fulfillment there. There are some places that we're sent to that's not part of the equation, except the emotional fulfillment that you get that it's satisfying a certain amount of income coming in that you need. End of story. Boom. Gratitude, thank you for that. And get the fulfillment, the support, the connection elsewhere. Right?
So how do I show up with my higher self in that situation, in that area? Because I don't feel like I'm tapping in and tuning in and being my higher self. I feel like I'm a different person. I'm dropping down to... Yeah,
because you have an expectation. Do you remember my sharing about when I worked at that spiritual center? And maybe I didn't say it. Well, I'll try to distill it because it's such a good example. I worked at a very well-known spiritual center, and believe me, behind the scenes, it was not all wonderful, even with the founder. I mean, I had people coming to me, opening up about stuff that was going on with him and his shenanigans, low-level stuff. And there was just, because a lot of times with certain groups, even with therapists, they're not doing their emotional clearing. They're not doing their inner work. And so they're acting out stuff, but then they're meditating or praying, and they look a certain way or have the best-selling books, whatever. It's like, but behind the scenes. So I had a situation, somebody had worked with me, and it was just when I was starting my podcast, too. They completely flipped out on me because okay, just real short story. I had paid them to work with me and as an assistant, and I paid ahead of time because I had money. They were in a crunch, and I gave them money, and so they worked. Everything was fine. Everything was perfect. And then they were wanting to leave, and I said, great, they're going to go on and do their career was picking up. Great, that's perfect. And I paid them, and then they said, oh, it's short. And I said, well, no, this is the accounting. And no, that's short. And I said, no, I paid you, da-da-da-da. And then they said to me, well, I said, when you first started, I gave you the week's pay. Well, who would do that? That's stupid. And I said, I would do that when someone needs money. And I go, because I remember telling them they couldn't, I was like, well, you're not going to go to, Mexico on this $500 or whatever it was, $400. I trust you. I trust you to do the work. So here's the money.
So you gave her an advance.
I gave an advance. What's the deal? It was no skin off my back. It was not that much money.
Helpful. That's very rare.
But that's what people do. Awesome. And also, if you're in a spiritual community, I'm like, why wouldn't I do that? I trusted the person, and they worked great for me. Well, they had issues with their mother. She felt like you shorted her. Yes, she didn't. So what happened? She freaked out, yelling, screaming, comes to my house. I'm trying to do my podcast, yelling, screaming. I had another assistant lined up, but that had to be their friend, and they're like, I can't now be your assistant. She badmouthed me. Her mother badmouthed me, who is like a bigwig in this institute, this group, also an attorney. And I'm like, what happened to working through? I started giving them their doctrine back to them, this group. I'm like, what about this? What about that? Freaked out, yelling, screaming. I mean, very, 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 just charged. But I could see it. I could see it playing out. I'm like, well, they don't do their emotional clearing work, healing. They're charged. Okay. But I was working there. I had classes there. So I had to show up while being shunned by certain groups. And it was hard. It was hard to go there knowing what the behind the scenes really are, how people really are acting. Because I was feeling like I'm a little nobody. I have my 5-step emotional clearing. I have my little things that I do, but I meditate. I do my inner work. I connect into my higher self. I prayed. I meditated. What do I do? And the message I got was, I am there for the students. Once that happened, I felt so good. I even literally, because I have some Scorpio, so I will poke you. Mm-hmm. When her mother, which is the big wig there, because she was holding a grudge to me, both of them were, and then certain people wouldn't talk to me because these two people were ensconced. Let me tell you, when I would get there and I would see her there, I would come up and I would air kiss. Hi, good to see you. I'm like, I am not going to, because that's what I did before with her. And she would just ridge it up. And I'm like, I am not playing your game. I'm here because of God. I'm here by divine appointment. I am here to do inner work. And I am not playing this low-level game. Well, I tried to make I tried to get this person back. 3 years later, they came and apologized and wanted to meet me. I didn't need to meet. I'm like, oh, if you would have done it. I so desperately, 6 months after, 2 months, 3 months. And I've had a few situations happen like that where I always get the apology. I'm so sorry, I was wrong. And she's like, I was triggered. I was going through a bad time with my mom. I took it all out on you. And they actually even wanted to pay me. They're like, I know people didn't work with you because of this and that. I'm like, oh, if you would have done this 6 months or a year, after. I go, but I don't need this now, but I appreciate your apology. And they even wanted to work with me again. I was like, well, so
interesting.
My long story.
So maybe I'm here for like a greater purpose. It sounds like, and I just won't know until quote unquote that time, whatever. But that's kind of seeing the bigger picture later.
Yes,
the purpose.
How you're showing up. Yes, how you're showing up, but also so you don't try to get something out of a situation. I can't tell you how many people I work with as clients that I tell them, especially that are academic, PhD professors, and they're like, and it's such. I mean, some of the work, the most cattiness and backstabbing in a system is the academic, is the universities and politics. And I happen to work with people and I tell them, you're not going to get your needs met. You're emotional. Go get the paycheck. Write that paper. Write that book. That's not your place. So a lot of times for some people, your workplace will not be where you get the warm and fuzzies, where you get the fulfillment. And to know that and go, okay, but this is providing me this income, or this is providing me this health insurance, and then bridge to something else. If you want to work in a place that's emotional fulfillment and money, you can have that, but you have to bridge to that. I learned a big lesson in that situation for me, because to be able to show up and see that they're wounded, they're acting out of this low-level wounding. And that's what taught me that metaphysical maxim that we cannot fool the universe. It doesn't matter what we look like externally, how many subscribers or followers or best-selling books or who knows our name. If you're not of a higher vibrational frequency, the universe knows you're not really affecting that big of change in the universal level. That a person that, let's say, is a custodian or cleans the halls.
Yeah,
of the
you
school.
mentioned this before.
Yeah, I know, but it's
before.
true. Because if that person is being the real deal empath, that person is putting out 220 watts, 2,000 amps of energy. It doesn't matter in our prefab world of what's prefab important. It may have juice in the bank account and a lot of people knowing you, but that person that's putting out the real wattage is creating more transformation. The other one may be bringing more awareness to something, but awareness, we all can be aware of our issues. Awareness doesn't make change. I could be aware, whatever. Somebody could be aware that they have to stop eating 20 chocolate cakes a day because they're gaining weight. That doesn't create change.
Right.
That's the first step.
That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so how can you have
step?
Is the action, once you become aware of something, then you need to do some kind of healing, inspired action, change your behavior, your mindset, work with your feelings, your emotions. It usually is some kind of emotional repatterning. Yeah, so being aware, that's a great gift. We have a lot of people on this planet that bring awareness, but that's not what's creating the change. It's a step. But there's so many light workers behind the scenes that we'll never see that are really making the cosmic change. So many little old ladies, little old men, that old school in the villages, whatever they're praying, meditating, their spells, whatever they're doing. The Celtics, the Druids, those people, the little old lady that prays for peace or humanity and is very genuine and compassionate and, really tuned in, that person is making a lot more change. It's really affecting that change.
You're right. And I think I just posted this on my social about, taking care of the inner world before being able to take care of the outer world. And that kind of coincides with what you had mentioned about, you know, just like about how we show up and how people show up, and that, you know, that it could be the janitor is different than that person who's wearing all white and with a long beard and all that.
It's our vibe. Yeah, it's our vibes. It's the vibration. But see, our world, especially around the 50s, I don't know if it's the 30s, 50s. I saw a documentary years ago on this, and it was when lifestyle kind of advertising came. Most of our life is built on advertising. It's what we see, and we've been kind of molded or in this entrainment to believe that that's what's making the big difference, or that's what success is. It's not really based on. It's kind of like actors. Like there could be an actor that's very well known or making a lot of money or is a big celebrity, but we've seen it. But they either do the same role over and over, or they're not that great, but they blew up for some reason. Whatever, how they dated, they had a better PR person, and then you see like another actor that does not leading roles but supporting. And you're like, oh my God, that person is so amazing. So talent, you know, that's why blowing up doesn't necessarily mean that there's innate talent. It could be the talent could be that they had a good marketing team, or the timing was right, or they married the right person, or, you know, whatever. There's so much else around it. Yeah, but I really feel with you, Sunray, is you're being pushed to kind of create a great soul-connected support team, or have a kindred spirit or kindred spirits or kindred souls, and not to try to, because you set yourself up when you're trying to get something from that place of work. And I think Healer Medium put it in the chat, sometimes you have to find your fulfillment outside of work. Yeah. Sometimes work is just work. Right. It's just about the money or the insurance. And then, so I feel like that's your lesson, is to kind of just let it be what it is. And if you let it be what it is, then you'll be better to align into your higher self, because our higher self sees what is. It doesn't try to make something what it's not.
Right. I mean, do you see myself staying at this place for very long? Because we're heading into a lot of even major rebranding and changes at work, and
I think that's up to you. I think that's up to you. I think as soon as you kind of just have the gratitude for what it is and just leave it at that, and take that energy that you're trying to change it or make it something different, or that it bothers you, and bring it into what you really want. You know, like my situation, I got so much out of that. I met so many people, amazing people. It's a good cred. I got clients out of it. I love teaching, and I love teaching there. It was a great experience, but it also taught me, once again, behind the scenes, you know, that saying, all that glitters is not gold. It's like, it's really about the behind the scenes and the inner work, and not to rely on something or try to change it and try to make it be what it's not. Just let it be what it is, and take your energy and either put it elsewhere or put it towards creating something else or drawing something else. So you're going to feel better once you take your energy off of what isn't and trying to make it be something, and being disappointed that it's not that. Then you open up to what is, and always what is there is abundance there.
Thank you, Michele. That's very beautifully said, and I'm excited and look forward to redirecting my energy and seeing what creative expression will come from that.
Yeah, really let us know. Call in. Try it out, feel it out, and see what comes up, because I bet you'll either get a burst of energy, or something will open, or you'll have a great idea. It's just, once you take that extra energy you're putting there, you take that away from there. Because that's the universe's gift. It's supporting you financially, and that's it. That's all you're going to get out of that. That's like having a Volkswagen, you know, or a Prius, even worse, a Prius, and thinking you could go to the drag races, right? You show up with your Prius and all these other cars, as soon as they, and you're like kicking the Prius, going, why did, you know, we lost the race, and all these other cars are doing 250 miles an hour.
Oh my God, I'm tearing up. It makes so much sense.
So bless your Prius. It's got bless your Prius. Sunray.
I'll bring my gay energy there and just be like, okay.
Exactly. Just you be you with that Prius. Just ride it with pride with that Prius, and then you're creating your sports car. Okay, lots of love.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. To whom am I speaking with?
I'm so excited. I didn't know if that was real. First time calling in. My name's Kate, and I just want to say thank you for your amazing talks. And I listened to the Soul Insight on your YouTube channel earlier, and it's amazing that it's just always spot on, and I feel like that's a common phrase we all hear, but it truly it's so validating, and thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your appreciation and for sharing your energy by calling in. Yeah.
Yes. My question for you is, I'm in this legal situation with the house that we had sold, and I'm looking to see what you see, if it will be ending soon, and kind of what you see with that situation.
Well, first of all, I get back and forth, so there could be negotiations or mediation. There's something back and forth for sure. I want to look at outcome. Ooh, it's back and wow. I don't know. It may take a while. I do feel you could settle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It seems contentious and definitely power struggle. It shows you hanging in there, though. I don't see you giving up or giving in, and I don't feel that you should. It's not saying to give in. It's saying hold out for what you want. You might have to come down a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah. Do you see it? Yeah. I mean, they're asking for. I mean, the claims are ridiculous. It's just, it's an awful, awful thing.
Yep.
And they're claiming, and do you see it ending by the end of the year?
I was just going to say, I would probably think December.
That's okay.
I would think
that
December.
was my
That's what I'm
feeling
getting
as well.
Yeah. You're spot on. It's saying hold on, whatever you're doing, whatever whatever tactic you're doing or whatever's happening is working. Yeah.
Yeah, I've my emotional response to it has been all over the map, and I think finally I'm at the point where I'm like, no, this is absolutely wrong, and I'm not gonna give it.
Yeah, that's why. That's okay. That's great for you to connect with that. Sometimes it just takes a while. Anything like this is a process. It's a process, and then brings in our deservability and our worth. But yeah, it does show that it will be ending. I would maybe even time a Sag, so end of November. I would say more December, though. Maybe around the 15th or something. I don't think they want to bring it into the year, is what I'm hearing, in the next year. All right, Kate, keep us posted, okay?
I will. Thank you so much for your time and everything that you give to us, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you for being here. Big hug. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi.
Valerie. Hi.
Hi. I haven't given up on my insurance claim. I'm still dealing with that.
Good.
And, and so I have another party involved. And they're saying also that I should have gotten the actual denial letter specific to my claim.
Yep.
And so hopefully I can get that, or if not, they will go ahead and decide to settle and send a check over here.
Yeah. I'm hearing similar with you is to keep to it. Let's see, what's prospective dollars you take with this? Legality, the claim. Okay, yours may go into next year. It says stay to it. Yeah, I just feel I don't know what's going on in the world. I mean, I just did this thing, a video with the guides on Patreon about the economy and just a lot of different stuff with that, and that always ties into the energy. I would just say right now for a lot of people, I just hit it. That's why Jupiter is reversed. Okay, if we look at it astrologically, is reversed. Retrograde. It's reversing things. It's in retro. Okay, so yeah, I would say a lot of things that are stuck right now towards the end of the year and definitely January, February are going to move forward, even with that Pluto going back into Aquarius, because anytime it leaves a sign, it umps. So I feel like with you, it's stuck. I feel like whoever has it, there's a lot. It's on the desk. It's on the files. It's in the it's there. I feel some people have even seen it. I think you just have to keep being that broken record. Like just send the email, send the registered letter or certified letter. Just do something and then do something positive and good for you, something life enhancing. You know, have some tea. Like our guest is coming on. Magical recipes for your tea time. Have some kind of tea that nurtures you. You know, and just keep doing it. Don't let there be a little bit of a what I want to say, like a little bit of a space after you do something. You know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's going to know when we get on the because her book. Maybe she'll know of a tea to help with breakthroughs or something. There's one for hexes, getting rid of hexes, but
and so far as
yeah, you're just going to have to keep at it is what I'm hearing. The thing is, a lot of time, individually, many times, I would say 9.5 times out of 10, we're involved in the universal cycle because we're part of the universe, you know, through the subtle energy, the wolf and the wharf, the weave. So you are in this cycle of stuff being held back right now. So it could be a Saturn cycle, I don't know, but I can see that, and it's just showing, you know, that there will be a breakthrough, but you've got to keep at it.
Breakthrough with the insurance, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Or just breakthrough in a whole bunch of other areas, because I'm still not working either.
Well, it could be a whole bunch of other areas also. I mean, one area, energy is energy. It affects us differently. Mm-hmm. You see, if you that's why I say do something, do what you need to with this thing and then let it go and then do something else in another area of your life, whether it's the job or whatever it is. You got to create a little bit of space because you're kind of energetically micromanaging this. That energy, take it into your work, your job, your career, whatever else that you want to do, right? Let there be a vacuum. You know, you can set it, you know, you can do a Post-it note or you could set a little alarm on your phone. Okay, now I'm going to look at this again. But you got to take that micromanaging energy and take it off of there.
Okay.
All right, Valerie, keep us posted. That's all
I shall. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone that's just getting on air on this podcast. If you're new, welcome. If you just started listening, this is time for our second half of the program. We have S.M. Harlow, a wildcrafter at heart. We're going to talk about her book, A Tea Witch's Grimoire. Magical recipes for your tea time. Let's see what we got here. Hello, SM.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Do you go by SM? Because that's what I got.
On the book it is. You could call me Susanna. That's okay.
Susanna. Hi, Susanna. Well, I didn't even in my info about you. They didn't give me your first name, but I'm like, okay. That's okay. I got your book right in my hand. Huh?
Oh, how lovely.
Yes.
You know, I was just listening in right now, and I was like, oh, yes, she needs a road opener tea recipe.
Oh, okay, let's talk about that, because they're still on the line. What is it? Is it a road opener tea?
Yes, that was the first thing that came to mind, and it's a very simple one. It's just with some mint, some lemon balm, some yarrow, and some parsley, and just to kind of help, crush those rocks that are in the way, and just kind of help the flow of energy move forward.
Okay. So mint, lemon balm, and what was the other tea?
Yarrow and parsley.
What was it? I can't hear. What was?
Lemon balm, yarrow, mint, and parsley.
Yarrow, okay.
And if she needs to have it happen fast, then add a little bit of ginger and honey to sweeten the deal.
Okay, I like that. Valerie, you listening? You're still in the queue. I see you. This is your tea. Mint, lemon balm, parsley, yarrow, little ginger to make it a little faster, and honey to sweeten the deal.
Yes, and if you don't like some of those, it's okay. You can focus in on any of one of those herb ingredients that you do like, such as mint or lemon balm. So it just depends on your preference. But if you go in with your intention and visualize your road opening, you got this.
Oh, I'm going to do that. Okay. So I got a question for you, Susanna. I've just put road open. Open the road. I used to drink a lot of chamomile. I have been obsessed, and I realize now, it took me a while to realize, oh my God, every night you have to have the peppermint tea. What is peppermint good for? Or I wonder why I'm craving peppermint tea. And I used to rarely drink it, every now and then. But it seems like it's become this, and I am a big tea drinker. Right now I'm having yerba mate with a little bit of honey.
Ooh,
but the peppermint, the yerba, I found a good yerba mate. It's one that's in actually a tea bag. What is it called? It's called Eco Teas, Organic and Fair Trade Yerba Mate, unsmoked. Green energy. It gives you a little bit of, it gives you a bit of energy, but not too jittery, because I'm very sensitive to caffeine. Yeah.
You said that you've been craving this in the night?
I said what?
Did you say that you've been craving this peppermint, especially at night?
Yes, and I realize now, if I look back, it's been like, I think at least for the last year. And before, at night, I would kind of vary my tea. Like I drink tea all day, and then at night I have a little tea, and especially after eating, maybe an hour later. But it used to be chamomile or something else. But peppermint I've been drinking a lot of.
Mhm. It makes sense, especially right before bed. You feel this need for the peppermint tea. Peppermint is very healing, but it also is deeply. Yes, yes. It is very soothing. It helps promote that healing energy into your mind and body. But because peppermint is also very deeply connected with the planet Mercury, it is wonderful sleeping, let's say for your dreams and for psychic powers, or prophetic dreams. It is wonderful in that kind of way that it can help soothe and heal those certain aspects. You know what I mean? Those, when you go to sleep and you need a kind of a healing renewal. And especially when it comes to your dreams, if your dreams are needing to kind of come forward and help you heal and cope or mend through certain things in the subconscious mind, then peppermint is really wonderful to take right before you go to bed.
Okay,
maybe
that
that's
explains.
You might be.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Okay, I'm a dream therapist and analyst, so I use my dreams a lot, and I do lucid dreaming, different types of dreaming. But here's the thing. I'm wondering if the peppermint's making it more. I have been, for the last, a year and a half, probably, maybe almost 2 years. Well, for sure the last year and a half, since like last year, because I'm going to do this dream workshop. I wanted to do it last year, but I'm doing the course this year. My dreams have been off the chart. I mean, astral travel, dream state,
Yes.
But I'm wondering if that damn peppermint is making it more pronounced, because I'm like,
I would say yes.
oh my gosh. Okay, very interesting.
It is great for prophetic dreams. It's great. It will help you basically, especially if you add it in. Like either if you drink as a tea, you have it before. Like if you put it into like a nighttime bedtime, or your bath salts and things like that, or into a dream sachet. It's supposed to help you see glimpses of the future. If not to help you heal subconsciously, it's also good for psychic powers, prophetic dreams. So I would say yes.
Yes. Well, I wondered, I mean, just as we were talking and you mentioned the dream, the road opening dream, I thought, I got to ask her about this peppermint, because it hit me like a few weeks ago, like I'm drinking a lot of peppermint tea, and I used to never drink that much very rarely. Everybody would go out to dinner, everybody would have tea. Most people would have peppermint after dinner. I would always have chamomile. And I thought, you've been doing like a mad dash on the peppermint. I've had to keep rebuying it. I'm like, I'm out of peppermint tea again. So I didn't know that. I knew digestion. Yeah, but I didn't know about the dream part. That's pretty fascinating. Wow. Love that. Let's talk a little bit. I definitely want to dive into your book, but I also want to find out a little bit more about you. I know you started doing this wildcrafting at quite a young age, that psychic age. Between 8 and 11 is very profound for us. But how did you really start resonating with working with herbs and teas and spells and, really casting magic, using magic?
Oh, okay. Well, I would say the healing factor when it comes with teas and herbs like that, I would say it was a family trait. My grandmother, she was very knowledgeable about these things. She just let her spirituality and her knowledge pass down, just, aid her in moving forward and helping people with these herbal remedies and things. So that always fascinated me to watch that happen. And when it came to magic and doing spells, definitely throughout that age, from, like you said, 8 to 11, I was out there letting my intuition guide me and my connection to nature empower me, and just doing little tiny, like, mindful spells that, you want something and it will happen, that kind of thing. And it was really when I was 11 that I started diving further into this wisdom and this knowledge and in practicing. But I would say that my full fascination and connection with herbs came full circle when I was 17 to 18 years old. I was working in a metaphysical store, and I was set in the back room like a little goblin to work on all the different herbal powders, incense, candle dressing, So I was out of sight, but I loved it. I loved being in this little dark room surrounded by an apothecary of herbs, and magical ingredient herbs, So I had to be there to learn all of their correspondences. I had to understand what went into creating a magical recipe, whether it was incense, powders, candles, oils, all of it, So I fell in love with that knowledge, learning all of their different properties, all of the folklore, the traditions passed down, the stories. And it was in that room where I really got to connect with all these herbs in a purely intuitive, empathic kind of way, And that's I would say, what truly empowered my craft. It was when I was able to do all that. And after that, I started working at a Chinese it was apothecary. It was acupuncture, Chinese healing medicine, and it was also a tea room. So my duties was to help assist the acupuncturist, but also to learn from the tea master there about all the different teas, the traditional Camellia sinensis tea, and all of its medicinal properties, its spiritual properties, its stories, its history as well. And something there clicked to me. That's when it was awakened, I will say, when I was able to fall in love with the tea and serve it to others who were coming in seeking healing, seeking wholeness, and in a way purpose for themselves. And I got to really embrace that service, that I knew that I needed to do, bring them a little piece of healing magic as well. So I would say that's really where the doors truly opened.
Now, did you start incorporating this for yourself and then seeing how you felt or what transfer you did? Okay,
See, I was making different magical herbal remedies before working at that acupuncturist tea room, but I think it was after that experience I really started to make true tea recipes, incorporating all of my magical knowledge with the medicinal knowledge that I knew of. And over the years, from like 19, 20 years old to now, I was just making all sorts of different recipes. And, just like any practitioner on this path, when a remedy needed to come in to solve an issue, sit down and create these recipes. So everything that you would see in this book is literally my recipes that I have done over the years, tried and tested and have come true. So, yes. It's my babies.
Your babies. So now, tell us a little bit about I feel like I want to know a little bit about your schedule, and that's interesting. What's Susanna's day like? Because with your wildcrafting, then when you're not doing that, you're studying traditional naturopathy. What do you do?
Well, actually, we just recently moved a few months back, and I used to live in California, so now I'm in Alabama with my son and my husband, and we live in the middle of the woods.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, we are in the beginning of forming a homestead here, and so it's been a lot of unpacking, a lot of organizing. I have basically been trying to organize my own little apothecary, and taking care of our son. He just turned 3 years old, so a lot of time goes into him now. But my day-to-day is I wake up, I do a bit of a solo morning meditation, in a way you would say, just before my husband and my son wake up and they need me for whatever. And, I think to myself, what is it that I need of the day? How am I feeling, And occasionally I would go and consult with my spirit guides through my oracle cards or my tarot deck. And from there, knowing the knowledge that I need of the day, or how I need to feel, or if I can go with the flow of the day, then I move forward and tend to my son and give him his morning breakfast, and then I go and I begin my day with my morning tea ritual. I usually like to start the day with like a GABA tea. It's a oolong tea. And if no one has heard of it, I highly suggest it because it's the perfect tea to start your day. It basically, is twice as powerful as coffee. It is, but it's not a lot of caffeine into it. So it's
what
perfect
is it called?
for basically removing the brain fog. It's GABA, GABA.
Oh, I take GABA.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
I do. I take.
Know.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, I need because again, I'm very, and it shows on my astrology by the aspects. But yeah, I take fast-acting GABA, which is stress release, but it's good for energy and focusing, but not jittery. Yeah. I didn't know that. Well, there must be. It's a herb, so it comes in tea form as well.
Yes, it comes in an oolong form. I actually discovered it when I worked at the acupuncturist, and that it just changed my world when I started drinking it. It's basically oolong tea, and it's been treated to a point where it activates the GABA chemicals within the tea plant itself.
Oh,
and so it can naturally be drunk and able to penetrate the brain wall. So it's a very lovely, gradual, natural way to incorporate GABA, and especially if you drink it every day. You can start feeling its natural effects within like a week.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because I've tried to take. Well, let's see, like what other? I can't think. Well, like 5-HTP. I'm now able to take a little melatonin at night, but I have to take a half of a little. Because my brain, I'm just so sensitive, and I usually have the opposite effect happen when I take something. It's very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But the GABA, oh my God, that is like, you're right, is game changing. I mean, it is just amazing for focus and just that. You do? I didn't really. Now I want to go back to something you said. So are you saying it's in this oolong tea naturally, or is this a special oolong tea?
No, it actually can be found in the Camellia sinensis. And so it needs to be treated to a certain degree to be able to activate the GABA found in it, in the tea leaves.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you treat it then?
Well, it goes with its natural process, like with all Camellia sinensis plants go too. It basically needs to be dried, and then when it does, I believe when it gets heated, going through the heated process, that might be also called oxidation, it needs to be treated in a certain temperature for a certain amount of time in order to bring about and for it not to be, I guess the right word, overcooked.
Yeah. Well, because oolong can really give you a lot. I used to drink. I sometimes can drink that early morning, but I love the taste. But it does have. I mean, to me, it's like caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
It has a big punch to it. Okay, Susanna, we have a question.
It's about 15%. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Healer medicine. I love oolong. Go ahead and what you. Okay, we got lots of questions in the chat. So go ahead and finish your thought about the oolong. Then I'm going to get to and then I have a couple of questions for you. If that's okay.
Basically oolong. I think it's about 15% caffeine. So it just depends on your sensitivity towards it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the wonderful thing about oolong
is this something that people can? We have a little bit of a delay for some reason on this connection. Is that something that people can do on their own? That's one of the questions of what you're talking about with the oolong.
If they were to grow their own tea plant?
Is that what it is? Okay.
Mm-hmm. If they did grow their own tea plant, then certainly they could be able to do this process at home if they wanted to, if they had the right tools and equipment for it. But it is, although to be more clear, that usually this tea is grown, or this type of oolong, this type of tea plant is grown in a nitrogen-rich environment. so that it would develop like a higher concentration of the GABA itself.
Okay. So a lot of it sounds like also how you're growing it then, right?
Yes, it's all about soil.
Is it? Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, we have Healer Medium wants to know, how did she find her tribe growing up?
Oh, my tribe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am a firm believer that throughout your life you are naturally led by spirit, by the universe, to meet people at the right time in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And I have definitely been around, meeting people and coming and going. And I like to say that I follow the wind. The wind takes me, So over the years, I have met many wonderful people that I got to share moments of wonderful experiences with. And I even now that they are no longer with me, that I have moved here to a whole new area, they still are close to me, close to my heart, and they know who they are if they're listening. And I am still searching for people where I am that are the same. It's the same connection, the same bond. And I have already started meeting people in that nature here where I am. So I like to basically say I like to believe that my tribe is large, and my tribe will come throughout my life. So, yes, they will just keep coming. And I'm excited to meet everyone that I can connect with.
Beautiful. Yeah, we are kind of sent to where we need to be, right, for our next level of soul unfolding, or sharing, learning, growing, and connecting. So you kind of just let it, I'm kind of that way too, just let it happen, or find yourself in certain places or sense certain places, and then certain people happen to be, you connect with, right?
Yeah, it really, truly just happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like here where I am, you would never think that you would find such a strong, supportive community because, I'm in the Deep South. And a lot of people, assume that they are not really very many open-minded spiritual people here. But I have been blessed to find a large group here that are absolutely supportive and loving and caring. And it means the world to me. I feel absolutely blessed to have been able to meet these people. And it happened exactly like that, where it just all fell into place that it came where I could meet them and they can meet me, and it just formed that way. So when it comes to a spiritual tribe, you will be led there. It will fall into place. And then you can have tea parties.
I agree. Yes. No, and I agree, they're everywhere. I mean, I've used to travel a lot, and I've lived in different places, throughout the United States and also internationally in Europe. And you always find people, and even the southern states. I mean, I've found, whether, Georgia, I haven't been to Alabama, but South Carolina, Florida, I mean, Chicago, I was there for a while. I mean, my friends in California would say, oh, Chicago, there's probably not a lot of spiritual people. And I was like, no, actually there are a lot of very spiritually focused people and even advanced practitioners. And I said, and they're also very consistent and dedicated, So, yeah, I agree with you. We get wherever, I mean, we're all over the place. We're everywhere. And I think we do get led to them. And even in a small town, I would find the one herbalist, witch, or metaphysician, or tarot card reader, in the whole, right. Susanna, we have another question. How much tea do you drink a day, and what kinds of tea? Do you have a favorite tea?
Okay. Yes, I do. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. I drink at least about 4 cups of tea a day. I drink a tea in the morning, a tea at noon, a tea in the afternoon, and a tea in the evening. And they all vary. In the mornings, I like to drink my oolong tea, my GABA. And in noontime, I like to drink a lemon ginger tea to basically power up my day, set my intention. And actually, to be clear, the morning tea is to remove the brain fog, clear away my energy. Basically, it's like saging myself. So you just kind of clear away. I basically start fresh. And at noon tea, that is when I set my intentions, that I know what I want and need for the day. And then in the afternoon tea, it's generally like a kind of a mushroom tea, and I add whichever herbs that I know will help basically bump things along. So it just depends of the day. I can go with some jasmine, adding it to my mushroom tea, or I can go with some peppermint to add to the mushroom tea, or some rhodiola to that as well. So it just depends on what is needed for that day in particular. And
I love rhodiola. That's another herb I take. Rhodiola.
Yeah. Oh, so wonderful with some rose petals or roses. Oh, yes. Or cherub. Yes, I love to make it into like a nice little milky tea with mushroom blend. Oh, it's so nice. Anyway.
Now, Susanna, where can people start? Obviously, with your book, and I want to get into that also. But where can people start because you're not only wildcrafting, but it sounds like you have all the accoutrements to make, the teas. Where can people start? What would be basic for them? Like, let's say for energy, or just a tea during the middle of the day, and then let's say a winding down tea.
Well, people can start. There are 2 types of tea drinkers. The ones who actually collect all of the necessary herbs and begin an apothecary at home, or the ones that like to go to the stores and find in the tea aisle their own lovely little box of tea, which are perfectly fine. I'm not judging. And if you reference my book or any other books, and the magical correspondences to these types of tea. Like if you're looking for an energy tea, you go right to like a lovely ginger tea or a black tea. And you can look in the market, find yourself a ginger tea, find yourself a lovely black tea that that you would enjoy, and you use that. Said that if you build your own at-home apothecary, if you know the magical intentions for these herbs, then you basically can start collecting them and find your favorites, find ones that are memorable to you, and drink those when you need those throughout the day.
What does it take to start your own, what do you have, like when you're talking about the oolong? You're growing it. It sounds like, are you growing it yourself also and drying it?
Not yet, because
you are. Okay.
Since I just recently moved, I haven't been able to get that started yet. But I'm hoping once the husband builds my little garden out there, I'll get back to it.
Okay. And then the tea. Gosh, your book opens so much. There's so much in here. There's the teas. Oh, I also love that you had like aromatic oils and crystals. Yes. I love you had the crystals in there. If you can, and teas for each sun sign, the horoscope teas. Yeah, there's a lot. What's your favorite combo? Like, let's say you're doing a nurturing tea, or somebody, let's say, that's going through a lot of change, and so many are right now. What's a good tea crystal combination, or is there one that kind of jumps at you?
Well, if they're going through a lot right now, I would probably go right to a peace tea recipe, just to kind of help settle the energy, bring a little bit more rest to yourself. Like if you just need a moment from all what's happening, all the craziness. And that one is a very simple recipe usually. It's like passion flower with some violet blossoms, some fresh thyme, and some honey. And I would use like a rose quartz crystal to kind of help lend in that peaceful frequency to the overall tea remedy that you need. Or some clear quartz. Or some selenite to help recharge after if it's been a crazy day.
Oh, I like that. The one thing I hear with you too, and I'm a big proponent of, ritual, cultural, traditional ritual, but also rituals that we create. And even as you're sharing this, I'm like, oh wow, that's the intention, because ritual helps us with the intention of what we're doing. So someone putting this together for themselves, right? Yeah, is creating a great ritual for themselves, and a self-honoring ritual for what they're going through. Yeah,
it's like self-care. That's exactly that. You're doing self-care.
Yeah, and making it something important and sacred, and then of course it's always the intention. Really. Yeah, because I know in some of my early ritual classes, they would talk about empty ritual. If you don't have the intention, you're just kind of putting something together, but you really have to align it with your intention. Let's see. And then you said rose quartz. What? Oh, selenite also. Selenite, rose quartz.
Clear quartz.
I mean clear quartz.
Or any of your favorite blue stones.
So tell me a bit about just your inspiration for this book, your most recent book here.
My inspiration? Well, I mean, the tea craft, I call it, has always been, it's basically been my practice for all these years. I have learned so much about different practices from different cultures and different spiritual ideals, and they were all so wonderful, so beautiful, and I was grateful to have been a witness and to learn all this. But when I realized how much of a passion I had for tea, I knew that it would become my craft. And over the years, whether it was for myself or for my family or for my dear friends, I basically always came forward with a cup of tea. Like, you need something, I'm listening to you, and I know you need this. Here it is. Just take a moment, be here with me and drink this, and it has always come basically from my heart. And this is why I knew I needed to share and share this book and write this inspiration, this where my love comes from, to share this practice that I think I feel that many people already do so in their lives, whether it is just to simply sit down in their own comfy chair with a hot cup of tea and just breathe in that scent, that steam, and just to gather their strength. That right there is magic that I know that they share with me. So I would say that's the inspiration. Enjoy that moment.
That tea really does something. I think obviously it has the properties within it, the if we want to call it the physiology of the tea, the chemical, but also the mental, emotional, also can be very soothing or connecting. Like you say, getting together with someone and having tea, or you see what they need and giving them that tea. I lived in England for a while and actually studied there at the university for a while. And, oh, my God, it was so cold. We had tea breaks. Now I'm like, they had tea to warm up.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you have tea. You meet someone for tea to chat, but then you also have tea for soothing. You have tea for waking up. I mean, there were all these uses for tea, and offering someone, a spot of tea, to kind of help calm or connect. Let me ask you, from your research with tea, was it always this way? Was it, was this, I guess, a part of tea's function?
Oh, yes. It's just exactly what you said. Tea has always been a source of empowerment or source of soothing, So definitely, I have seen it all as well.
Okay, so it's always kind of. And I'm wondering with you, do you think we're more going back to that? Or more people starting to, because I know that tea, especially in the States, the whole thing with coffee. I think Mexico, I have some relatives from there. They were big in a lot of coffee, but some teas, for sure. I know different areas or provinces have, one preference or not, or another. But I'm wondering if you're seeing a resurgence, whether with herbal treatments or maybe even supplements. Like you said, some people go to the store and get it. Some people do their own crafting and preparation. What are your thoughts on that as kind of going back to that old folklore, natural way of healing and soothing?
I do believe there has been a resurgence towards this because a lot of people have, I guess I would say people have started to move past coffee because of the caffeine intakes. I think more and more people are starting to just want to relax, unwind, or at least just take it slower, take life a little slower, because I have definitely heard a whole lot more people mentioning how they are reacting negatively towards coffee nowadays, with anxiety or with stress or inability to sleep or to relax.
That is interesting.
Yes, and more people I have noticed are looking more towards natural healing or preventative ways to heal themselves, find wholeness, find balance in their bodies and in their lives. So, which is wonderful. I'm so happy to see this because I think it needs to be done more so. We need to kind of move away from reliant so much on Western medicine, which is still good, but what needs to be is to just basically take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of yourself before you need to go to Western medicine, So
I agree. Yeah, I agree definitely that for self-care or nurturing or, really, and if you think about it, that's how really Western medicine, conventional medicine came out, was really out of acute situations, surgeries or major illnesses. It really, in the beginning, if you look at the history of it, it really was never for like the common cold or, hence common cold, a little ache and pain. There were all these other things. Oh, put your feet up, rest. There's a poultice. Put this, chamomile tea patch on your arm, whatever it was. Work less. Oh, you must be stressed. Relax. Have some tea. Have a toddy or whatever. So I agree with you, and I don't know about you, but when I'm doing stuff like that for myself, I feel not only empowered, but so loving and this kind of like I don't know, where ancient wisdom beyond me comes in.
Yes.
Right? It's just so amazing.
Yes.
You have the plant medicine coming through to help you, the Gaia, Mother Earth. I mean, it's just this interconnected, right? Isn't it? Oh.
I was just thinking, like, yes, that's the feminine mother, the mother of all is within you, around you, within the herbs, within all of the remedies that you do for yourself. You're mothering yourself, which is it is an ancient practice in itself, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why you would feel so good, because you are meant to take care of yourself. You're meant to be like your mother. It doesn't matter who you are. You are supposed to care for yourself and balance yourself in order to balance the world around you.
Yeah. Oh, Susanna, so well put. All right. On that note, let's let people know where and how they can find you and about your book. And you're welcome, Healer Medium, for the show. You're welcome, everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. Susanna, yes, under the pen name SM Harlow. Where can people find you and connect more with you and get your book?
Well, please feel free to connect with me on social media. I am there. I am active, and I do respond to everybody. So I am on Instagram. Cool. I am on Twitter. I am on or X, however they call it now. Or the whole thread, or all on TikTok. I am under the Tea Witch blog, so you can find me on there. On Facebook, my page is SM Harlow Book, and I have a blog called theteawitchblog.com. So I'm pretty much the Tea Witch blog, so you can find me that way. And you can find my book in most stores that sell books. You can find it on Amazon. So I hope you find it okay, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you share with me your love of sea magic, because it would mean so much to me to be able to see this widespread, you know, and just being able to enjoy it and practice it, you know. It's beautiful practice.
It is. It's like pass it on. All right, Susanna, thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful day, and I wish you well in your acclimating to your new homestead. Sounds like it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on here. It's been a blast, and I wish you all the best as well. And many cheers.
Thank you. Lots of love and light. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Soul Lights. Wow, a lot of great info. Might want to re-listen or re-watch when we get to YouTube. It'll be uploaded to YouTube maybe I think this week. You may want to re-watch it there or re-listen on all your podcast favorite platforms. It will be available. Check the description box, ways to get in touch with Susanna. Also, I'm going to put the Dream Course link there. I forgot to do that, but I will do that today. And I'm going to just read one little, I just pulled a Starseed Oracle card and got Magnificence. And to me, this wraps up everything, because today everyone was so sharing their gifts, including our guest, her amazing gifts as well, and insights. Magnificence. You are amazing, magnificent, and unique. But most importantly, you are enough. Yeah, remember you're enough. Your vibrational resonance and frequency is not only here just by happenstance. No. Needed and necessary. You as you are needed and necessary at this time on the planet. All right, Soul Lights, connect with me, Soul Insights and Tarot, as well as Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube. You can also connect with me on Instagram, and there are other ways. Patreon, There are other ways, but those are the main ways. If you have any guest suggestions, topic suggestions, please email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. As always, continue to shine your light, share your insights, and, of course, keep awake.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.